Hello and welcome back to Reddit Replies. Today's question is, Reddit hackers, what did you come across that immediately made you exit a device? A couple of years ago, I was heavily involved in reactivating old Hotmail accounts and using them to log into Facebook. This was during the peak of chain emails with hundreds of accounts in them. I had plenty to choose from, although I'm not sure why I did it. It was a combination of boredom, curiosity, and having a lot of free time. I felt like a hacker, at least occasionally. You come across things you wish you had never done. Once, I stumbled upon a guy's Facebook profile, and it quickly became apparent that it had been inactive for a while, like stepping into an abandoned house. There were many unread notifications and messages. In the messages, there was a girl who had been trying to reach out to him. Initially, I thought she might be a stalker, maybe a disturbed person. I don't want to go into details because even I feel like I invaded someone's privacy. Mostly, she would tell him about her day-to-day life and occasionally beg him to come back. Then things would get really strange, with her saying she sometimes felt his presence in the air. It turns out the guy had passed away, and people have strange ways of dealing with that. I quit that habit after that incident. I was asked to steal something from a link associated with a client. When I did, I easily gained access to their wallet. Being the curious person I am, I investigated how they had accumulated so many coins. There were numerous small payments with disturbing descriptions attached. I informed the guy I was working with that his associate was sick, and we promptly reported it to the authorities. It's sickening. I'm not talking about a few $1,000s, I'm talking about 6 or 7 figures, hundreds and hundreds of transactions ranging from $50 to $1,000. It's sick. I was hired through a website by someone who wanted to access a child's computer because they had harmed him. I did it and found that he was searching for explosive recipes. I handed over the access to the person who hired me and cut off all contact. There are a few other stories where I encountered non-child-related things. If it seems like it's not about children, it's pretty common in this thread for me. Many years ago, there was a website that had nothing but a countdown timer with red dots on a map. This page was highly effective at unsettling the entire internet. I found a way to enter it, and based on some things I found in the control panel, it was obvious that it was a joke. So I let it be. Right at the end of the countdown, the guy who created it updated the site with his big reveal, including a message about how hackers from all over the world tried to access the site but failed. He called us all novices. I was a cocky teenager, so I took it as a challenge. I was in a teleconference with other hackers at the time, and we all entered through a backdoor that I left there and discovered everything about the guy who created it. We left a message on the page with all his information. If you're reading this, sorry bro, we were the novices, right? Anyway, around that time, when the countdown ended and for a while after, the server was under attack. This happened while I was logged into the server. I was in the process of cleaning up and removing some code I had placed there, but I was very impatient. The page was lagging heavily. At some point, I changed directories and tried to delete everything before the server responded, but I didn't realize I pressed a key and ended up accidentally deleting a lot of information. The moment I realized what I had done, I felt terrible and immediately exited as fast as I could. We had plans to keep messing with the guy, but I went too far. I was hired to develop a payment processor for a major fast food brand. At that point, I had the ability to transfer $100,000 a day to an offshore account. I was going to do it like in the movies, taking a 2% cut from the payments as taxes. I pondered it for a while, and then the next day, someone I knew got arrested for doing the same thing but on a much smaller brand. I immediately dropped those plans. I ended up working for the brand for a few years without committing any fraud. Well, actually, the school technicians were really dumb and left the password for the main account in a line of code. I accessed it and found all the teachers' information, their pay, students' names, addresses, social security numbers, and more. No, I got out of there. I like finding insecure cameras, mostly those without passwords or using default passwords, and I hack into them to see what they record. Many are inside homes, some in children's rooms. I never intend to stay long enough to see people. Once I saw one inside a house, and there was a girl on a couch who was about 4 or 5 years old. After a couple of minutes, the girl stood up, and she wasn't wearing anything. I never went back to that one. There's an SUV for that, but I can't remember the name. Edit, an SUV for viewing cameras. Also, I was playing Counter-Strike at an event a few years ago. I ran a virus on the network that caused messages to pop up all over the screen saying things like, "Good luck, behind you, your mom is a man," and so on. Eventually, the organizer paused the event to tell everyone how to block the messages. The funny thing is, some people already had them blocked, including my team, and that led to a lot of unfair wins. I stopped when they started suspecting me. It was amazing and the start of my journey into engineering and cybersecurity. That was the era of chat pages. There was a guy I talked to in a chat. I sent him a message pretending to be a 14-year-old and told him to download my naughty picture. He did, but it was actually a virus download that gave me access to his entire computer. The tool I used showed me all the important files on his system, and once I got in, I deleted everything. I lost all the tools I used, but those were fun times, hunting down and destroying perverts. Oh, and I was a spammer in the late 90s for 2 years. We were a group of 3. We created a page using affiliate content and then sent out the link. We started in AOL chats and made a good income from it, around $2,000 to $3,000 each per week. Then we expanded to other sites, which brought in larger amounts, like $20,000 to $30,000 a month. Until the authorities knocked on one of my partner's doors. They never found me. I was 17 at the time. I stopped when that happened. Conservatively speaking, I made about $500,000. It's mind-blowing. I mean, money isn't spam, I hope you spend it wisely. I spent it as quickly as I made it. One of the guys opened a cafe. I was the youngest of the 3. I was deep into the dark web for work, looking for certain things. I came across certain ads on the dark web that made me quit my job until the next day. I got out of there. I'd rather not say what I saw, but you can guess. In high school, we had computers with a tool that allowed you to remotely control them. I had a free period, so I went to the lab and connected to the school network. I randomly picked a computer, and as soon as I accessed it, I encountered explicit content all over the screen. The weird thing was that everyone there was between 11 and 15 years old, and no one had ever even mentioned those things. A couple of years ago, while exploring the world of programming, I stumbled upon an online forum dedicated to cybersecurity challenges. Intrigued by the challenge, I decided to test my skills and participate. The challenge involved infiltrating a highly secure system of a renowned government agency. After weeks of research and analysis, I finally discovered a loophole in their security network. I utilized a social engineering technique to deceive an employee and gain access to sensitive information. With each successful step, my confidence grew, and I felt like a true master of hacking. As I delved deeper into the agency's system, I uncovered classified files and confidential documents. The thrill of being one step ahead of their security measures exhilarated me. However, as I delved further into their secrets, I stumbled upon a file that contained information that could potentially endanger lives if misused. Suddenly, my perspective shifted. I realized the immense responsibility that came with my newfound power. I couldn't ignore the potential consequences of my actions. With a heavy heart, I decided to abandon my hacking endeavor and focus my skills on ethical cybersecurity practices. I reached out to the agency, anonymously providing them with the details of the vulnerability I had exploited. Additionally, I shared recommendations to enhance their security measures and protect their critical data from future breaches. Their response was a mix of gratitude and caution, as they recognized the seriousness of the situation. From that point on, I dedicated myself to becoming an ethical hacker, utilizing my skills to assist organizations in strengthening their cybersecurity defenses. I understood the importance of protecting sensitive information and the potential harm that could arise from unauthorized access. Through my journey, I learned that true mastery of cybersecurity lies not in exploiting vulnerabilities for personal gain, but in utilizing those skills to safeguard and protect against malicious attacks. The world of hacking is a double-edged sword, and it is our responsibility to ensure that it is wielded with integrity and for the greater good.